By the way, we're going to have the greatest story ever told in 5 minutes on this show by Brian Scalabrine. Don't give it away.
What a tease. That's unbelievable.
So we're going to get to the NBA stuff, then you're going to tell the story.
All right.
Okay, so yesterday Jeff Van Gundy said, you got to take a phone call trading LeBron. Everybody laughed. Mark Jackson said, you're nuts. Would you take a phone call if you're the Lakers?
100%. I mean, what is your roster right now moving forward? I do like the young guys in their team, but what Jeff was saying is your timeline has to match up. You can't have a guy, even if like the Lakers get Zion Williamson and he's 19 or 20 years old and LeBron is 35. Your timeline has to match up if you want to win championships. And it seems to me, the more you talk to Laker fans, the more you start seeing Lakers out of the playoffs. They're not just happy LeBron's here. They want to win. I'm not sure that you can win with a timeline that looks like that. I think if they get the number one pick, I'm not saying they are. Obviously, they have a long shot to get that. But if they did, they'd be looking hard to trade that for Anthony Davis.
By the way, I thought the story of the weekend that got no publicity was the story that Brandon Ingram has a disorder. It is a serious medical condition with blood clotting like Chris Bosh. I think that takes him off the trade market. Therefore, they don't have the pieces to get Anthony Davis. This didn't even make headlines, and I thought, time out.
Yeah.
It's a huge story.
Yeah, it's huge because I don't think New Orleans could even make that move now where you would think Brandon Ingram would be in that trade no matter what.
That's the number one asset you'd have.
And you were trying to tank to get a better pick so you could send your pick over with a Brandon Ingram.
And Kyle Kuzma and Lonzo.
Sure. But now all of a sudden, without having Ingram, I don't know if that exists unless they hit the home run of all home runs and get the number one pick.
Yeah, I thought it was a massive story. Sure. By the way, you this whole year is absolutely, and I know people get tired of us talking about it. It's been an absolute disaster. When you're doing your NBA stuff, are people kind of snickering at LeBron now? It's a disaster. Finally, he hit a wall.
But I don't know if you talked about this last week or today, but I was watching the show earlier. I think it's strictly him going to the West. Like all this drama, it's a disaster in LA. I think it all has to do with just if it was the top 16 teams, Adam Silver has talked about just making it, all right, we're going to take the top 16. We're not going to have the Eastern Conference or Western Conference. Like if you're LeBron and if it was top 16 and you're the 14th seed in the playoffs and you're looking ahead, you're like, I like my odds with that. And I think because they're out of the playoffs, it's a big deal. He did the same thing in Cleveland. He didn't play any defense in Cleveland last year, but he can flip the switch when he gets there. And you're not battling these teams in the Western Conference. And now you make it, and then you go to the finals because of it. But the West, and I said this at the beginning of the year, the West is so much harder than the Eastern Conference. First, the players are better. And two, the teams are better. And if you're holding guys accountable,
and the coaches are often better.
Well, I don't know about all that.
Brad Stevens is great.
Yeah, but there's a lot of good coaches around the league. But I just think the talent is better.
Oh, there's no question.
And especially with LeBron leaving, if you look at if they made the playoffs and they were a low seed, no one would think they have a problem. But now it's like doomsday for the Lakers right now because they're out of the playoffs because those teams are better than them. Those teams play hard. The Clippers play hard every night. They play every possession. And there's teams that are like teams like Portland. They have bodies, multiple bodies to throw at LeBron when he gets to the rim. So it's a big problem because the West is so heavily weighted versus the East.
By the way, Celtics playing well. Gordon Hayward now shooting 70% last 3 games. You're a Celtic broadcaster. Feels good, right?
I still think they have a long ways to go because I'm only looking at it like you have to beat Milwaukee on the road and you have to beat Toronto on the road. Now you have to go through both of them. So to me, I'm happy that they won those games. I thought the Warriors had a do not compete clause. I thought the Sacramento Kings played hard. And then the Lakers, it looked like a preseason game. Tonight, if they win this game tonight against the hard-playing Clippers, then I would say they're back on track. But I'm only using it. Tonight is, to me, the benchmark.
All right, John, let's have sound effects because I do believe in the Celtics. I love stories like this. This is fascinating. You traveled in the NBA and now do as a broadcaster. So you've been traveling in the NBA for 15 years. And I've asked people this off the air many times. but now I want it on the air. I ask people before we go on the air, and I'm going to write a book about this someday. Did you ever, or have you ever, Earl would know this too, have you ever had a terrible NBA flight? And I said that to you, and you said, oh God, we almost died one night. So, John, if we could have music to heighten the moment. Let's have music. Right. Tell people about the flight.
All right, so we're in Houston, and Mark Cuban was kind enough to let us borrow his plane, so we're thinking, oh, this thunderstorms going on between, typical Texas, and it's between Houston and Dallas.
Okay, so you're on the Celtic team with Doc Rivers, Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, the team.
It's a really good championship-level team.
High level.
You just played in Houston, and Mark Cuban said, hey, you can use my plane.
Sure. And so we had a choice. We can go around the storm. It'll take 2.5 hours. We can, fly out of the way. Or we can go right through it, 20 minutes. So Doc Rivers says, all right, man, 20 minutes. We're going right through it. We asked the pilot, how's it going to go? He's like, I wouldn't need anything, and you better stay buckled up. And I think the plane got hit by lightning 5 times. And what it sounded like, if Thor hit the plane with his hammer, the whole plane would shake. Boom. I mean, I was fully expecting to go out at the end of the flight, look at the plane, and see a bunch of dents. But everything worked out. Smooth landing. But that flight, everyone on the plane thought they were going to die.
By the way, you said there was something about a card game?
Oh, yeah. Like this, NBA players never stop playing cards for any turbulence, for anything. I mean, the flight attendants, the pilot, anybody. This game, everyone went to their seat, buckled up, and you can hear a pin drop on that plane. I think everyone was just like getting right with their maker before we were about to go. I had some things to repent for. I had,
by the way, Mike Breen's a friend of mine, does the NBA. I asked him the same question years ago, and he said, we flew into Cleveland one night, and the plane started diving.
Yeah.
He said it was one of those rosary bead moments. And then it straightened out, and it was all good. By the way, a minute left, back to the Celtics. It is interesting. Kyrie Irving, Terry Rozier came out this week, and he said, listen, Kyrie's our leader. He's been in a great mood. He's feeling good. We're harder to beat. It's contagious. It rubs off on everybody. It is remarkable in the NBA. If the star's happy, the room's happy.
So I think that a guy like Rozier should look at it like, if Kyrie is in one of those moods, this is your chance to shine. It's your chance to make the difference between making $10 million a year and $17 million a year next year. So I think the whole idea of you got to pick your brother up. I do think nowadays, and it's funny how in the last 4 weeks, everyone has blamed social media for every problem in the NBA.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays, when things are down, guys can't just fabricate their own energy, which I think the only reason why I even made it in the NBA was for times like that, when a guy didn't have didn't have energy, or he had an injury. I would have to raise my level for that one night, and that kind of kept me around.
Yeah, good seeing you, bud.
All right,
Brian Scalabrine, we do appreciate that near-death story.
Good job with the sound effects.
Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Doc Scalabrine. Hour 3 next.